Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have the spectacular Spider-Man animated series from 2008. This is one season, only one season. I just didn't really watch my Spider-Man cartoons over the years. There's only 26 episodes, and there's more. Let's see if it tells me here. This is a 2008, 2009. 26 episodes. Yeah, there's only one season. That's really sad. Spider-Man's a kind of perennial cartoon property that, honestly, when Sony in this case, Sony definitely has the cartoon rights in this case, as well as the movie rights, because they're just finishing up the Tobey era, and they're about to start on the Andrew Garfield era. This is pretty much all the Spider-Man you're going to get between those. It tries not to emulate either one of those, but the love interest, which does not become apparent right off the bat, is a kind of mousy, not mousy, actually can't say really mousy, but very, I don't know. It's kind of the prototype for, what's-her-face, for the Gwen Stacy that was in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man series. Because she's not just seen as an ideal hottie with a headband kind of thing. She's an intelligent student. She has brain, not just the body and the pretty face. I can't, Emma Stone. This is kind of the Emma Stone. I'm trying to think. Yeah, because the first Amazing Spider-Man movie did not come out until 2012. I only make these distinctions because you know that when it comes to studios making more properties, the focus is always going to be on big money blockbuster films, and they have not gone wrong until maybe Spider-Man 3. Although I think they made a ton of money on Spider-Man 3, whether people liked it or not. So they're going to keep making the movies, but in between, why not make cartoons? In this case, everybody gets a Spider-Man cartoon in every generation. Going all the way back to the 60s, I believe, 60s or 70s, everybody's had a Spider-Man cartoon growing up. And this is for the kids who just happen to be, born since 2000. Yeah, that's what this is. Because there's been many since, and there's been many, many before, obviously. And this is kind of ambitious. It's got sort of an American anime feel to it, not truly anime, but the style of the characters, especially the principal characters, it's very clean. It's just the non-superhero, supervillain looking stuff. All the characters have big colored irises, no pupils, very simple face shapes, body shapes. They're very styled. They're not meant to look very. They're not meant to look anatomically correct. They're also. It's also not trying to lean into what probably was the predecessor to this cartoon, which was the one that came out of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man series that we watched just a few weeks ago, that had digital elements to it, and was also really had its own style, and everybody was super skinny and tall. It was very strange. This could not be more different. This has a very young looking Peter Parker. He looks 14 in this. He's small, but he's of course wiry and full of energy, full of humor. It's really upbeat, and as you know, it's not always easy to make a Spider-Man story upbeat in the first episode, because you always got to reference Uncle Ben, and he does at least 2 or 3 times, but it's never a show-stopping moment where I gotta wistfully remember my uncle. It doesn't slow down the story. In fact, if anything, this is pretty fast and furious, pardon the expression, for this weekend. It goes pretty fast in introducing so many different villains in one episode. I only watched one episode. I'm just going to do this right now. I am going to add this because I really should watch every single Marvel show ever made. That's just who I am. I should do that. Whether I will ever get around to doing that, I have no idea. It's easier at 26 episodes that are only about 23 minutes each, but we'll see. In this, we get to see Spider-Man face off, or at least meet, a number of different villains, that some who aren't even villains yet. Eddie Brock shows up in this, not as a rival newspaper guy. He's just a guy who graduated high school before Peter and Gwen. And it's, he's just an older kid who's working for Dr. Connors. Oh, hey, Dr. Connors is a lizard. And, the very first villain we see, Sandman, because you got to have that really opening scene battle. Green Goblin doesn't show up in this, but Norman Osborn does. So does Harry, who's also in a Green Goblin in the movie and definitely in the comics at one point. But he is very different. He's a very mousy. I want to say mousy again. He's not the cocky rich kid. He's kind of nerdier than Pete, which is kind of weird. Not Norman, Harry. We get to see the Enforcers. This is a Ditko era bunch of Goombas that they're the Enforcers. They're hired muscle for organized crime people. We see a shadowed figure in the darkness who has hired them to go after Spider-Man. I mean, the Enforcers. It's guys who dress up as cowboys in the comic and are sent to fight Spider-Man. I can't think who, they worked for Hammerhead at the time, and Hammerhead shows up in this too. The Man in the Shadows, spoiler, I'm going to tell you who it is, just because I recognize the voice. I have a feeling it's Tombstone. And we get Tombstone, we get Doc Ock without anybody saying his name. We get the Vulture. The Vulture is in this, and he actually gets in a big fight with Spider-Man. He's kind of the main thing. There's so much in this. I know I missed a few just listing them like this, but it's really establishing every connection. Aunt May, of course, shows up in this. We hear the voice of Aunt Anna, the aunt of MJ, who we do not see in this yet. So they build out in some subtle ways, but obvious ways for fans who've known Spider-Man for decades. It's kind of really neat how they establish things, and they keep the story moving. We establish that Pete also is, having a struggle with money, and he wants to work for the Daily Bugle. He comes up with the idea of taking pictures, and of course, J. Jonah Jameson pushes him out, tells him to get out of here, forces him out of the Daily Bugle, but he steals Peter's idea. So yeah, it's all the dynamics you get from the comics and maybe from other stories and movies and cartoon series you've seen in the past, but it throws them all together pretty quickly. And we're going to see, from what I can still see just in the promo image, we're going to see all those people. We're going to see Mysterio, we're going to see Venom, we're going to see all these characters, all the biggies that we all love as Spider-Man fans. This is it. And it's, definitely aimed toward a kid's audience. This is a much younger audience focus than the last one that had Neil Patrick Harris as Peter Parker. But yeah, I almost feel like the Spider-Man should also show up in the multiverse one that is coming out in a few weeks. I would love to see all the different animated Spider-Mans over the years. That would be kind of awesome because they're in an animated movie. Why not? Put all the live action Spider-Mans together from the last 3 eras. Why not put all the animated ones together? Maybe he's in there in the trailer and I just never saw it. I don't know. We'll see. But let me go over the names of some of the people you might recognize. Peter Parker is played by Josh Keaton. I know Lacey Chabert. She plays Gwen. Stacy, she was in Party of Five and a Lost in Space movie and things like that. Flash Thompson's in this. Joshua LaBarre. Grey Griffin, who does every single voice in every cartoon you've ever seen. She plays a character I don't know, but she does appear in the very first episode, Sally Averill. Avril. Okay. Liz Allen's in this, played by Alana Ubach. Oh, Vanessa Marshall is MJ. Star Wars fans know who Vanessa Marshall is, and she's done a ton of other voices, don't get me wrong, but Star Wars fans know her as Hera from Rebels, so yeah, that's kind of great. James Arnold Taylor, speaking of Rebels and Clone Wars and things like that, James Arnold Taylor does the voice of Obi-Wan among so many of the characters. If you ever seen him do his show live, I did at Star Wars Celebration many years ago, probably 10 years now, and he literally throws up every cartoon character he's ever voiced, and he changes voice with every character that shows up on screen in like a second for each. It's crazy. But he plays Harry, which is crazy. George Stacy, Gwen's dad, played by Clancy Brown. Okay. There's so many. Steve Bloom is Green Goblin. Yet Alan Rations is Norman Osborn. Philomar is Rand Robertson. He was another high school kid. Ben Diskin is Eddie Brock, and some of my favorites here, Darren Norris. A lot of fans from Veronica Mars know who he is, and all the Rob Marshall stuff he shows up in. He plays Jonah, and John DiMaggio Bender plays Hammerhead. Peter McNichol plays Otto, and I could go on and on and on, but we got Kevin Michael Richardson plays Tombstone. D. Bradley Baker, also from the Clone Wars. He is the clones, all the clones, Bad Batch Clone Wars. He plays Kurt Connors, the Lizard. Jeff Bennett, good cast. Susie, Brian George. This goes on and on. Everybody is in this. Cree Summer. Good. You're going to have to look at it yourself. I've already gone too long in talking about this cast. This is a stacked cast. It looks like it's a lot of fun. Looks like it could be a lot of characters that y'all love, packed in 26 episodes, so it's not a huge commitment. Of course, I'm going to recommend this. This is Spider-Man, and it looks like all sorts of fun. Maybe it's not your favorite style of animation. There's some that people gravitate to depending on what they started with, but I think it's really fun. So definitely give it a shot. There's nothing I can say that would be bad about this, that I would go, oh, well, skip it. No. Spider-Man fans, any age, can probably enjoy this one. Anyway, let's pick tomorrow's episode.
526.
Oh, I'll stay into the 500s now. 526. All right. This one should be easy to do. This is part of a long series of different shorts from the Cars franchise. You know who I'm talking about. It ain't Lightning McQueen. We're going to get Unidentified Flying Mater. So, yeah. Unidentified Flying Mater is what we're watching next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Excelsior.